Hey, we are Friday Lab and today we will create generated Grilanda lights with geometry nodes. Why? Because we can. This tutorial is not for beginners, but we will try to explain why we do the stuff we do the way we do it. Okay? Let's start. We will start with a clean Blender file. We can either hide or remove the unnecessary objects. And instead of a cube, we will start from a plane. And in edit mode, I will delete one edge, all the edges, sorry, and we will be left with one edge that we can move to the center. And let's move it up a bit so we can watch it from the front. Great, so we have one mesh line, and we will want to hang our Grilanda lines from this mesh, okay, like this. And this is exactly the first thing that we will want to do to create this hanging line mesh. So let's jump into the geometry nodes, because this is gonna be a geometry nodes tutorial. We'll create new and call it Grilanda. I hope this is the right way to write it. And let's create the first hanging line like this. So in order to create nice and curvy lines, it is better to work with curves. Okay, so let's take our mesh and convert it to curve. Now we have a curve, and this curve has 2 points. The first one here and the second one here. And those points create a straight line. The default type of the curves in the geometry nodes is poly and not Bezier. That means that instead of having a nice curvy line, we will get a jaggy, sharp line. So the first thing we need to do is to change our curve type. Right now it is called spline type, from poly to Bezier. Okay? And as we have a Bezier curve, each point have 2 handles. Okay? One handle to the right and one handle to the left. Same on the other side. One handle to the right and one handle to the left. And we want to take those handles and push them down. Okay? Or more correctly, put them in the position of the main point and push them down here. And when we have both our handles down, here and here, we are going to get the result of a line that goes down and then goes up to the next point. Okay, if you played a bit with curves, this is very, very clear. So in order to do that, we will need the handle position node, duplicate another one, so one will be the left handle and the other one will be the right handle. Okay, and already if I take and pull down the offset, you can see I can control those lines. Okay, but I control both of them simultaneously, and I want to control it more precise based on the position of each point. So as I said, I need a new input position. Okay, this is the position of each point. Okay, it's a field, and I can put it in the position. And right now I see nothing have changed, but what I did is I moved those handles from being here and here. I moved them to the point. So I need to add, like here, an offset on the Z position. Okay, shift click, I can join them. And let's add a matte vector, a vector matte right here with add, and I can push them gently down. Okay, I have now a nice curvy line that goes from one point to the other. Great, but this is only one wavy line, and I want a big amount of them. And this is really easy because we already have a mesh curve and we just need to add this mesh more points. And with curves, we have a nice resample curve node that allow us to add more and more points. As you can see, let's connect it to the input so we will have a control from out here. Okay, this is count. Let's change the name to amount. Great, but as you know, I hope you know me, this is not good enough. It's very generic and I want to have a bit of randomness. So let's create a random value node and connect it to the add. But wait a second, if I will just connect it like this, the value will control all three of them. And I want it to control only the Z location, position. So I need to use combine XYZ and connect it to the Z. Okay, now I will control only the Z location and change the number to negative. And I can control the randomness and I can move the seed to get different results. I also can connect the seed to my input so I can change it from right here. Amazing! We have those lines and this is already looking super, super neat. And this brings us to the next step, is to add those small light bulbs that are scattered along the line. In order to do this, we will instance on points some light bulbs. I will fast forward this part. I'm going to model a small light bulb. It's very easy. You can model it by yourself, buy one or download a free one, but it doesn't matter. It just needs to be some kind of shape for us to see it. Okay, this is my light bulb and I moved it a bit down so its pivot point is gonna be here and it's going to rotate along this X. And I can right now hide it back to my geometry nodes line and drag and drop it to my node system. Connect this geometry to my instance and I have huge light bulbs on each point. Okay, right now I have 8 points. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 light bulbs on those points. In order to see my line as well, let's us join the geometry, our instance with our line, so we can see the line. I hope you noticed, but right now the lines don't have any points on them. I have the points only up here. So we need to add more points in order to have the lights scattered along the line. Let's make them a bit smaller. Let's have less points. Okay, so from here to here, we need to add more points on the curve. To add more points on a curve, we can simply subdivide the curve and have more cuts. Okay, each line cut once more, and once more, and once more, and so on. Okay, so we have a lot of light bulbs and we can control the amount that we have, but we don't like, okay, I don't like the lights that are up here, because on the hanging point there should not be a light. And in order to deselect or select only the points that I want to instance on them, I have the selection slot right here. And I can use the index of the points. Okay, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And it is a running number of indices. So let's take a new input of index, and I want to tell it to take only each second index. What do I mean? Take, for example, a line of 3 points. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. This is the first index, the second, and the third. And I subdivided it by 1. So I added a cut here and another cut here. And now the numbers are new: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I want to select only the 2 and the 4. So I need some kind of a math operation that telling me no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay? And this math operation is called math. And this math operation is called modulo. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. And modulo, if I'm looking on it on the view instance, modulo of 1 is giving me all the numbers from 0 to 1. It's not helpful because our index is a whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's look at modulo of 2. In a modulo of 2, I can see that I'm getting 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay? Modulo of 3 is going to give me 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay? In a coding language, we count from 0. So modulo of 2, when I'm cutting once, is going to give me exactly what I want. Okay? It's going to give me... Sorry, I connected it to the wrong slot. It's giving me no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Okay? And this is exactly what we wanted. But right now we have only one cut. If I increase my cut to 2, again I'm having a problem because I'm getting no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, okay? And now it's jittered. But as we can see, our modulo should be just one step higher than our cut. Because if I'm going to step it into 3, I'm going to get from the modulo no, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no. Okay? I'm hoping you get this, because the selection is a boolean and it's only seeing no and yes, 0 is no, and all the other numbers are yes. Okay? So it's very easy to connect it to our smart node controller. Let's just duplicate the input so we can keep everything a bit more clean and tidy, and connect a new cut. Okay, this cut is the amount of light bulbs. Okay, and as I increase it, I have more and more light bulbs. And as we said, the modulo should be one number higher than our cuts. So we can add another math node with an add operation. Add 1. So if our cuts are 9, this is going to output 10, and we will get exactly what we wanted. Okay? We will have more and more lights without them being on our top hanging points. Amazing! We have all our light bulbs hanging nicely on our line, but they are all facing down, and it's not very convincing because they should be aligned a bit to our curve, to our line. And for this, we are going to use the align rotation node, or for its name, align Euler to vector node. We used it before, and as we connect it to the rotation of the instances, you can see we already can control the angle those lights are pointing. but we want to use some data that we have on the curve. And this data is the curve path. Okay, we know that a curve has a flow, a direction of movement. Each point knows the direction she should travel further. And this node, or this parameter, is the tangent. Okay? So let's search for the curve tangent. And this input node is giving us the tangent of the curve. And already we have something interesting happen. Let's understand a second what is happening. If this is our light bulb, let's look at its local axis, and we can see that the light is aligned to the world. Okay, so if I'm going to rotate on the X, it's going to rotate on this X and is facing this direction. Y is this direction, and Z is the up direction. Back to our line. If I will tell the lights to look on the Z direction, I can see that it all's looking, the tangent is aligned to the Z orientation, right? As we saw before. If I tell it to align to the Y, all the Y's of the light bulbs are pointing this direction, and if it's the X, all the X's are pointing that direction. For instance, in my example, they are all flipped, and an easy fix is just to number the factor -1, and they are going to face outward. But for me, the Y with the factor of 1 giving me a nice result of the lights feeling like they are really connected to the line. And as we did before, we can add a bit of randomness. Okay, I will take the random value. I reset it to 0 and 1. And in order to connect a value to a rotation, I need a rotation Euler node. Okay? And I can change it to axis angle by the local axis and connect it to the angle. Let's see what we get before we connect the random. Now I can rotate each one of them along its Y rotation. And if I connect the random, each one of them is going to be rotated a bit differently. Very nice, I hope. So all of this, we can Ctrl J and have a frame and rename it light bulbs. Great. We have all those lines on the line, but the line is a curve, and curves without a mesh are not visible in the render output. So we need to convert the curve back to a mesh. Okay, so we go to the curve and convert it back to a mesh. And in order to be a mesh, it needs some kind of a profile. And a profile, I like to use a curve circle. And of course, it's way too big. So let's make it smaller. Okay, I control now the profile of the curve. And I don't need such high resolution. 4 or 5 is more than enough for me. Okay, and this is the curve line. And they are already joined. And now we have all this mesh visible to render. And the last step is to add some materials to the light, because lights without light is nothing, right? So I'm going to select my light bulbs again and create 2 materials for it. One is going to be the black material, and I'm going to use it for the base of the lamp and for the curve as well. Let's go to material preview so I can see what I'm doing, and it should be a bit more shiny. And the second one is going to be my light material. In edit mode, I can select only the bulb and assign this material. And I'm still selected on the light bulb, so I can edit the light and I can see it here. First off, before I go to edit my light, let's add the black material to the line as well with set material and select the black material for the line. I joined it here in the curve line. And let's go to the shader editor and select the light bulb. And now what I want is to have random colorful light bulbs. Okay, so each light bulb here is an instance, and I can use this information, this object information, to control the color. Okay, I have a random here, and if I connect it, you can see that each light bulb is getting a different value of gray from black to white. Okay, black is 0 in colors and white is 1 in colors, but this gives me a black and white colors and I want it to be colorful. So I'm going to add hue saturation node, and instead of controlling its color, I'm going to use the random to control its hue. Okay, as we said before, the hue is from 0 to 1. Okay, the random color gives me 0 and 1 value. And now if I'm going to give it some base color to tweak its hue, we can see that we're getting a colorful light bulbs, each one in different color. And of course I need to connect this color to the emission as well. Let's make my scene darker so I can see the nice lights it emitting. And in Eevee, let's add a bloom because we can and it's nice. And I can have more intensity and have stronger light bulbs. And we are done. We have this nice, super neat Grilanda light generated system. Sorry for a lot of words. And if now I go to the edit mode of our plane or Grilanda, I can select the points and start to extrude with an E and create more and more lines. And you can see that this generates more and more lights, and I can hang them on my walls or apartment or communicating with the upside down, for example. And I can add more and more lines and add more and more, okay, it's too much, lights, and control the seed. And I can go back to the geometry nodes and tweak a bit more my randomness. And we have a super nice system of lights. All is left for you is to tweak it a bit more, maybe refine the module, set some lights, set a scene, and render nice shots and share it with us. I hope you learned something new. Leave us a nice comment down below and see you next time. Bye bye.